Ukraine has been using American HIMARS missile systems for more than 2 months. During this time, the Ukrainian military managed to deal an irreparable damage to Russian logistics, effectively stopping the advance of Russian troops. Hundreds of ammunition depots were destroyed. Thousands of tons of shells and rockets were blown up. Hundreds of Russian headquarters and command posts were destroyed. Supply chains have been hit hard. And eventually, the Ukrainians destroyed the bridges over the Dnipro River near Kherson, leaving more than 20,000 Russian troops trapped without supplies. HIMARS has become the most terrible demoralizing weapon that the Russian soldiers are afraid of and cannot sleep peacefully. And of course, HIMARS plays a key role in the Ukrainian counteroffensive in the south. The Ukrainians go on the counteroffensive and the Russians go on the defensive. We are seeing a strategic turning point in Ukraine. All that became possible thanks to a few HIMARS. Understanding this, the generals of the Russian army set a serious task to find and destroy all HIMARS systems. There are even rumors that the order to destroy HIMARS was given personally by Putin. But despite all the efforts made, they never managed to destroy a single American missile system. How did it happen, and how did the Ukrainian military manage to turn the tide of the war using only 24 HIMARS missile systems? And why the Russians can't do anything about it? I will tell you about it right now. Let's first briefly consider why the American HIMARS is superior to all similar Russian types of weapons. Russia has a wide range of multiple launch rocket systems. The youngest of them is Grad, which translates as hail. It launches small rockets covering enemy positions at a distance of up to 15 kilometers. Then come Uragan systems. They use larger rockets and shoot a little farther. At the top is Smerch missile system, which can fire 300mm rockets at a distance of up to 120 kilometers. If you look at their work, it may seem that this is a very terrible weapon. In a sense, it is. But all Russian missile systems are inferior to one American HIMARS. And that's because HIMARS has a really high accuracy of shooting. So that you understand how serious this advantage is, I will illustrate this for you. Let's say the Russians want to destroy a Ukrainian object under the symbol X at a distance of 100 kilometers. The accuracy of Smerch system at such distance is from 1 to 2 kilometers. They release a full salvo of Smerch missiles at the object, but the probability they will hit is very small. In order to destroy this object, you need a lot of missiles. That is why you can often see in the footage how the Russians use several Smerch systems at once. Then the probability that at least one missile will hit the object increases. According to Ukrainian estimates, the Russians need to use about 300 Smerch missiles to destroy one Ukrainian object. We see indirect evidence of this in the Ukrainian fields. If you carefully look at the footage from the Ukrainian fields, you will find that they look like a sieve. They are littered with meaningless rocket hits. The Russians are wasting thousands of ammunition. Shooting with Russian MLRS is like taking a lot of pebbles in the palm of your hand and then trying to hit a small target with them, such as the bottleneck. At the same time, HIMARS can hit any target with just one missile. The HIMARS missile accuracy of hitting is 1 meter. One Ukrainian military said that the accuracy of the hit is so high that a missile can even hit the chimney of your house if he enters its coordinates. And again, we see confirmation of this. See how precisely the HIMARS missiles hit the bridge. That was the idea of the Ukrainian military. The missiles hit along the same lane and at the same distance from each other. This was done to show the Russians the ability of HIMARS. That is why the Ukrainian military easily cut off bridges across the Dnipro River and often hit pontoon bridges through which the Russians try to supply their troops. And that is why the Ukrainian military destroyed hundreds of ammunition depots in the occupied territories. The Russian command has developed several ways to destroy HIMARS, and all of them were unsuccessful. At first, they tried to figure out the location of HIMARS from satellites and destroy them with their precision-guided Caliber missiles. According to the Ukrainian military, Russia fired several dozen Caliber missiles at HIMARS. The systems were indeed destroyed, But then it turned out they were wooden. The Ukrainians have launched the production of wooden models of systems. They are created in exactly the same dimensions as the original. Then they are covered with metal sheets in the same color, and there is a special device that generates heat inside. Therefore, on radar and satellite images, it seems to Russians that these are real HIMARS. Thus, the Russians spent over tens of millions of dollars wasting a good amount of their best missiles trying to destroy decoys. Unfortunately, we do not have photos of wooden HIMARS, but believe me, they are almost indistinguishable from the original. The Russians also organized a sabotage group of special forces, which was supposed to eliminate the missile launchers. But apparently, they didn't succeed either. HIMARS systems are well guarded. To date, not a single HIMARS missile system has been destroyed. This was officially confirmed even in the Pentagon. Ukrainians, for their part, are hunting for the most dangerous Russian MLRS, Buratino or Solntsepek. The danger of this missile system is that it launches thermobaric ammunition. This weapon is considered the most deadly after nuclear weapons. The Buratino system is a conventional multiple-launch rocket system mounted on a T-72 tank, but it fires volumetric explosion projectiles. The ammunition has two charges. Upon hitting the target, the first explosive charge opens the container and sprays the combustible mixture in the form of a cloud. This cloud can penetrate any openings in buildings or defenses that are not hermetically sealed. The second charge then ignites the cloud, resulting in a huge fireball in a fraction of a second, a powerful blast wave, and a vacuum that absorbs all the surrounding oxygen. After an instantaneous detonation, the pressure rises sharply and drops below atmospheric pressure. Thus, even if the enemy managed to survive after the explosion, the pressure drop leads to his guaranteed death from the rupture of internal organs. Even if the soldiers are in fortified shelters, they can still die from pressure drops and lack of oxygen. Some soldiers who miraculously managed to survive said that at one moment you feel that all the air disappears and you cannot take a breath because there is no oxygen around. This happens because all the oxygen burns out in the affected area, going into a chemical reaction. A vacuum is formed for a while, and because of this weapon is also called a vacuum bomb. What makes this weapon even scarier is the fact that it is not accurate. The Buratino missile system was not designed for precise shooting. It should cover entire areas, burning everything that is there. It is almost impossible to survive in the zone of destruction of Buratino missiles, except possibly by a miracle. The system can launch 24 missiles at once, caliber 220 mm, and cover an area of 4 hectares. It is good that the fire range is limited to 6 km. This limits their use exclusively in the combat zone. The Ukrainians not only managed to destroy these systems, but sometimes capture them and then use them against the Russians. One of them was even exhibited in the center of Kiev to amuse civilians. While HIMARS continues to terrify the Russian military, you can watch my other videos in the meantime.